The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Darren Jaime. Oh wait, I'm Christina Pagan. And today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our community as well as around the world. Coming up on today's show, we'll bring you the latest headlines in local, national, and international news. Next, we'll learn about how you can produce your own TV program all around the borough through BronxNet. Plus, we'll find out about one kind of way to keep your youth healthy and active this summer. And we'll hear about a movement to transform our waterways right here in the Bronx. After that, the first ever Bollywood in the Bronx is approaching, and we'll get a taste of this cultural event you won't want to miss. And finally, Ramadan has begun, and we'll take a closer look at the holiday and what the Bronx community is doing to celebrate. So stay tuned, all this and much more is headed your way because we are now officially open. Hello everyone, I'm your host Christina Pagan. Today is Wednesday, July 10th, 2013. Of course, you're watching Open, the only live and interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can find us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Leading things off with national news, the Texas House of Representatives has tentatively approved a measure that would place new restrictions on abortions in the state. Critics believe this measure would shut down many clinics, forcing women to seek dangerous back alley abortions, while proponents say the bill will raise the standard of care and protect unborn children. A final vote will take place today. On the international front, Egypt announced Tuesday that former Finance Minister Hazim El-Bedlai is the country's new interim prime minister, and opposition leader Mohammed El-Baradei is now vice president. The announcements came after the Muslim Brotherhood rejected a plan announced interim Egypt President Adeli Mansour, which would amend the country's constitution and set new presidential elections. Locally, former Governor Eliot Spitzer has announced his plans to run for city controller after his resignation from office 5 years ago as the result of a prostitution scandal. According to the Associated Press, Spitzer will work this week to collect the 3,750 signatures he needs in order to be on the ballot, with high hopes of regaining the trust of New Yorkers. Those are the headlines, and we have to take a break, but we'll return and we'll find out how you can receive hands-on television training right here in the Bronx. Stay tuned.
I love being in classrooms like this one and learning new things. But I'm a Brooklyn girl, and I know school can be hard. It's demanding, and we kids have many distractions, lots of other things we could be doing. Sometimes even your friends may tell you that school isn't cool, that it isn't the place to be. Don't listen to them. There's nothing more important than education. It's the key to everything else. It helps us understand our world and be better people, better friends, and better citizens. So stay in school, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough or smart enough. Be a star, shine brighter than anyone else, and you'll make the grade.
This has been a public service announcement of the Make the Grade Foundation. Go to makethegrade.org to learn more.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Hello, welcome back to Open. I'm your host, Cristina Pagan. BronxNet is currently offering summer television production classes on the campus of Lehman College and at Pregones Theater, allowing Bronxites the opportunity to produce their own programs. Joining us to share more about the training and how you can take part is Director of Development Audrey Duncan and Production Instructor and Filmmaker Roderick Giles. Welcome, guys.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you for coming. So tell us about when these classes are starting. When do they start?
The one set of classes is starting this Saturday, July 13th, at Pregones. And those are classes that we had one cycle so far in our history at Pregones Theater down in the South Bronx. And the remainder of the classes will start Tuesday. And those classes we've been doing for 20 years.
And what was the response to the first cycle at Pregones? Because
it was
new.
Excellent, overwhelming. People were really excited to hear that they would be able to take training right in their own neighborhood. And the students who participated in the class were very excited, and they're excited about the programs that they will now produce.
Are you involved in the Pregones side or just here at BronxNet?
Pregones and here at BronxNet. With an assistant, I taught the first cycle there. We had a great bunch of people, really eclectic, from different communities and different interests and different stories they want to tell. And so we had about an average of about 14 students that came in to learn how to produce television.
Oh, 14 students, that's a pretty good first class.
That's pretty great first class.
And what was your experience with this class as compared to other classes that you've had before?
It was fun. It's kind of a tough question to answer, I got to tell you, sweetie, because I've been here for some time and I've trained about 2,000 people here. So, but a great bunch, came enthusiastic, came with some ideas about content that they want to create. And then you put the tools in their hand and teach them how to use it, and then magic happens.
What's the first thing that you tell your students when they come into class?
First thing I tell them is fail to plan, plan to fail.
Interesting. Fail to plan and plan to fail. What does that mean?
That means that although we don't control so many things in our lives, in relationship to creating content, we at least have to have a plan, a map, in terms of where we want to move from point A to point B. Everything else is just kind of working around that map, and you know, by all of the dynamics that come into play that want to kind of play with the plan, the gremlins, if you will.
Indeed, the gremlins. So Audrey, I know BronxNet has been doing this for 20 years, training Bronxites. What is the trajectory of the training program here at BronxNet? I know in Pregones, and then we're going to start in Mercy, I know.
Right. So several years ago, we did a survey, and it turned out that people wanted to have access to BronxNet, all of BronxNet services, in different parts of the Bronx. So the Pregones was sort of a test pilot for doing something in a different area. And somewhere around the fall or so, when BronxNet is done building out our facilities at Mercy College, shortly after that, we do expect to start training there. So people who live in the East Bronx or the Northeast Bronx will have easy access to production training.
That's fantastic. We're in the Northwest, we're in the South, and we're in the East. We're everywhere.
Definitely.
All over the Bronx.
All over the Bronx. What's one of the things that you see students coming in and the same problem that they have every time?
Well, I wouldn't say problems. How I would categorize it is that a lot of them are neophytes. They really come in unaware, but they know media, you know, and from albeit their cell phones to they have a little camcorder, and they have a love for television, and they want to express themselves. And so the biggest challenge, I'd say, is getting over their fear around equipment. And this might be too difficult for me to learn because there's all this technology involved, and I dispel with all of that nonsense. And we just go right in and put our hands on. The first day of class, I put a camera in the hands of the students so they can familiarize themselves with it, and so they're no longer just neophytes. They can say, you're already now a producer. Now you just have to build your skills.
Is there a particular success story of one of your students that...
I have many success stories, and BronxNet has many success stories. There are many students that have left the class and that are working in the industry now, quite a few.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're also a filmmaker.
Yes, I am.
Are you currently working on anything else?
Yes, I am. Several projects, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm working on a web series called Swaziland, and I'm finishing post on a film that I shot. It's loosely based on the assassination of Dr. King. Those are my two current projects. And I'm supervising a writing team on a comedy show.
Oh my.
So those are the three things.
Busy guy. And
Yes.
training 2,000 students at once. Oh my goodness gracious.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a little bit of time in there for me to sleep.
Do you ever,
Unfortunately.
are you ever able to use some of your students in
All the
roles?
time. Those individuals who are interested in elevating their skills and moving on professionally, I give them opportunities to kind of come in and work next to the professionals that I have if they're serious. And some have moved on, and quite a few have moved on, and they're a part of my team.
Oh, that's great.
Right. Actually, one of my former students, Kwesi Rose, is actually my teaching assistant, and I supported Kwesi, executive produced his first film. So
Fabulous. There's roads to everywhere. We're like starting with BronxNet, and then you can become
Right. But we consider the BronxNet road to be a high road as well,
Absolutely.
because most of the people take training, and as soon as they take training, they're able to produce their very own program. Where else can you do that? Now, television is in their hands. They get to communicate the message they want, to produce the programs they want to produce, to share with their neighbors. So a lot of the people who finish the class start a series. So once a week, they will produce a program that all of the Bronx audience can see.
And it's not just television. They also we put on our website,
Right.
so it's disseminated around the world. So that's it's
Right.
a major opportunity. Can you tell us about the process to get involved in these classes?
A person simply needs to be a Bronx resident or work for a Bronx organization. They come in and register. We do training 4 times a year, and as we said, we have one coming up now. So they can actually come in now, weekdays, between 9 and 5, and register for the class. And there is a small fee for the field production class, which is $100 for 8 weeks of class. You can't get that anywhere else.
Right.
They sign up, just bring proof of who they are and that they live in the Bronx, and then they're good to go.
What kind of proof do they need to bring?
An official ID, the same sort they would use to travel or do whatever they do, and some sort of bill, like a cable bill or so on, that they receive at their home to prove that they live in the Bronx.
And where should they go? Can they do this online? Do they have to come in?
At this point in time, because it's so close, they would need to come in and see our accounting office. So they come to Lehman College, the campus of Lehman College. We're in the Carmen Hall building, and they can come to room C4.
Room C4. Everything involved. And these classes start when? You said Saturday?
We have the classes at Pergones, so if they want to be near 149th, near the Grand Concourse at Pergones, they can take the class starting Saturday. There's also another Saturday class that will take place right here at Lehman College, as well as classes that are Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and another class that's Thursday during the day. So they have options.
There are many options. That's fantastic.
Yes, that's 4 sets of classes. So
That's a lot.
So we have evening, day.
And you're in all those
weekends.
classes?
No, I'm in the majority of them. I'm in the Tuesdays and Thursday evening, which goes from 6:30 to 9:30. The Thursday day, which is from 10 to 5, and the Saturday, which is from 10 to 5. So we try to accommodate, people's work schedules, and so that they can get in. And then the Pergones class is also going to be from 10 to 5, correct?
It's actually
Saturday.
a little shorter. That one is from 10 to 3,
10 to
but
3.
the classes that are here that are full day are from 10 to 5.
Okay. I had a question. I completely forgot what it was. So what is your favorite aspect of teaching students?
The people.
Just the people?
The people. You get a magnificent bunch of people who are enthusiastic. And once they learn that the world is open to them in terms of what they want to communicate. And so that's probably the most important aspect for me.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out about an eco-friendly transformation in the Bronx. So stay tuned.
Sir, are you okay?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? Call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
Hello, I'm Carla Cadenas, and you can check out Open 2.0 at 4:30 on Fridays, or on the web at www.bronxnet.org.
6.
Welcome back to Open. I'm your host, Cristina Pagan. The Metropolitan Waterfront Alliance is comprised of over 730 organizations with a goal to transform the waterways of New York and New Jersey Harbor. Here to share more about the group and their efforts to bring ferry services to the Bronx is Courtney Worrell, Chief Operating Officer. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, so we were just talking off camera about the need for ferries and why there aren't as many in the Bronx or any at all, as far as I know. Can you tell us about the process to get ferries here in the Bronx?
Well, so the process to get ferries in the Bronx is not spelled out. It's a process that probably involves a lot of advocacy on the part of Bronx communities, and so we're working with any Bronx communities that are interested in ferry service. We're here to kind of help them work through the process that we think is happening with the city right now. So let me back up and I'll tell you more about us just so we can get that going. So Metropolitan Waterfront Alliance, like you said, is an alliance of about 700 organizations, and it's businesses, organizations like volunteer groups, nonprofit organizations, community organizations, waterfront restaurants. We have a travel agency that became part of our alliance. A lot of people understand that the waterfront in New York City and in New Jersey we've turned our back on it. It's been neglected for a long time, and it's time to re-embrace the waterfront. So there are 520 miles of waterfront in New York City alone, 750 miles of waterfront if you include New Jersey. That's more waterfront miles than almost any urban area on the entire planet. And we don't think, though, of this region as a waterfront region. We don't think of New York City as a waterfront city, but it is a waterfront city. It's the premier waterfront city in the world, basically. So lots of work is going on to change that and to reconnect to the waterfront. Everything from making sure the waterfront industry is preserved where it's needed, that we have good parks, that we have ferry service, that we have residential development where it's needed, that we have wetlands, the whole gamut. There's a huge wide variety. So anyway, New York City has been rethinking ferry service, and there's new ferry service in Brooklyn that goes from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and it was wildly successful. In the last 2 years, it exceeded all expectations. So the city's now thinking about where can we expand this ferry service, and we are on the front lines of advocating for ferry service in Queens and in the Bronx and in parts of Brooklyn. So basically that's the baseline of what we're doing.
Would it be a ferry service like the Staten Island ferry, or is it a pay per ride service?
It would probably have to be a pay per ride. Staten Island ferry, that it's free is kind of a fluke. I don't think that we'll get that. Yeah, I know. The Brooklyn ferry is about $4 per person. So we would hope, and we'll be advocating for the same type of relatively low fare that's cheaper than the express buses, but a little bit more than the subway.
And it's a pretty quick trip, I would assume. Like they said, it was about 25 minutes from the Bronx. I guess the proposed ferries from the Bronx to Manhattan or Midtown.
Well, so in terms of the proposed ferries, there's nothing specific on the table yet. So how those routes work out is exactly what we want to figure out with communities. What do they need? Where do they need to go? So we know that if there was a ferry that went from Ferry Point Park or Soundview to Manhattan, it would be about 30 minutes to 40 minutes, depending on where you're going in Manhattan. And that's a huge savings of time compared to subway service, which I know is hard to get to from a lot of the neighborhoods, but also mostly people driving into Manhattan or into Queens and different places. So just so I'm clear, we really want to hear about what it is that people think would work best, because there's nothing laid out in terms of plans that's very specific. So the opportunity is now to make the case for ferry service and what kind of ferry service would be really helpful to people, would help them save time on their commute mostly. Yeah.
And where can they go to express this need? Is there a website they can write to? Are you having a town hall somewhere?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to go to our website, which is www.waterfrontalliance.org/ferries, and you'll find information about what we're working on. And we also have a few Facebook pages, and that's a great way to kind of click your interest and that type of thing. But we also have, which is really exciting, a meeting coming up on July 24th at 7 o'clock at Community Board 9 at their office, at the office there, to talk about what ferry service to the Bronx could be and how we can help out, and what it is that people think might work.
And have you spoken with any of the officials before this meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of interest in City Council for ferry service all over. Councilmember Vallone in particular has been very, very supportive and actually encouraged us to work in the Bronx as much as we could, because he knows that there are new developments going in the Bronx, and ferry service would be great for those areas.
What's the kind of construction? Are we looking at sites that already have some sort of pier set up, or would these have to be built?
They would have to be built. So the terminal or the landing site, those would need to be built, and so there is an expense to that. The capital costs, though, for that are about $5 to $8 million, and that's an extreme deal in comparison to other types of mass transit infrastructure that's needed.
Like that Second Avenue line they're doing.
I mean, right. I mean, there's no comparison.
Right.
It's so much cheaper. And even extending bus lines is very, very expensive because of the labor costs and all sorts of things. So ferries are economical in the sense that there is the one-time capital cost of the landing and the shelter, however they're going to design it. But then the ferry service itself runs on the water. There's no maintenance cost for the water. The water's there, it's available, and it's relatively underused compared to other parts of other big cities that have ferry systems.
And I'm going to assume it's more eco-friendly in that there's no exhaust coming from a car, like per se, or something like that.
Yes. So ferries are good for getting people out of their cars, and that there's a great environmental benefit to that. If a ferry is taking people out of the subway, the environmental benefit's not really that different. It's about the same. And over time, ferries are going to become, most boats on the water and ships, in fact, are going to become more environmentally friendly. There'll be stricter emission controls over time. That will be important.
What kind of boats are we looking to use?
So if anybody has gone to Lower Manhattan or the west side of Manhattan and taken the New York waterway ferries to New Jersey or the East River ferry to Brooklyn, those are basically the size of the ferry. So they hold about 200 people. They're all different sizes. New York water taxis are the boats that, there's a water taxi that goes from Lower Manhattan to the new IKEA in Brooklyn. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but you can go to IKEA on a New York water taxi, and the New York water taxi boats are smaller, and they look like taxis. They're yellow with black.
I saw them. I saw one at the Christopher Street Pier.
Yeah,
this looked very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So the size of the ferry will depend on what they're projecting to be the demand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said your website was what again?
So it's www.waterfrontalliance.org/ferries, or you can just type into Google Metropolitan Waterfront Alliance and you'll find us. We're the only organization with that name out there.
Is there any way that people can go to? Do you have an office that they can go to? Maybe if they want to volunteer, or?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's interesting you mentioned that. So the other thing we do is we try to get the message out to the entire region, to everybody in the region, about how great the waterfront is. The waterfront in New York and New Jersey. So we have a huge public festival coming up on July 20th on Governor's Island and at Liberty State Park in New Jersey. And we are looking for volunteers, but we're mostly just looking for people to come and have fun. So the event is, like I mentioned, is on Governor's Island and Liberty State Park, and then there are lots of locations all around the city where our partner organizations are doing their own small fun event on July 20th. So you'll be able to find all that on our website, and there are a bunch of things going on in the Harlem River and other things like that. So definitely people should get involved with
That's
that.
fantastic. So you
Yeah.
have your event on July 20th on Governor's Island. You're also having the town hall on July 24th.
On July 24th at 7 o'clock at Community Board 9.
7 p.m., not a.m., right?
7 p.m. Yes, right.
Before people show up
Be
in the
really
morning.
clear about that.
Coffee in hand, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. So it's July 24th at 7 p.m. at Community Board 9. Fantastic.
Yep.
We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll get a taste of an unforgettable afternoon here in the Bronx. So stay tuned.
Low-fat cheese sandwiches on whole wheat bread. Chewy and good for you. Snacks high in calcium help build strong bones, and foods rich in fiber are good for your heart. So you have the power to dominate. Can your food do that? Run, throw, think, eat better. Find out more at smallstep.gov.
Hi, I'm Sean Johnson of the 2008 U.S. Gymnastics team. I'm here with our friends from VeggieTales to say, be a player, get up and play an hour a day.
Besides gymnastics, how do you stay in great shape, Sean?
I love to dance and rollerblade.
Cool.
You don't have to be an Olympian to be a player. Just do the things you already love to do, like jump rope, ride a bike, or even play freeze tag.
Now that's something to flip for.
Well done! For fun ways to get healthy, visit www.smallstep.gov.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? What, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool. Really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Every year, mothers lose their babies to gun crimes. You'll always be your mother's baby. So before you commit a gun crime, think about who you'll leave behind. Gun crimes hit home.
Gotta get that. Oh, I must be careful. Well, that's a nice picture.
Come on, Anna.
Okay.
Foreclosure doesn't affect just you. It affects your whole family, too. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage, we can help. Call 1-888-995-HOPE, because nothing is worse than doing nothing.
On Saturday, July 13th, the Westchester Square Bid will host the first ever Bollywood in the Bronx, featuring beautiful arts showcasing this Indian and Caribbean culture. Joining us to share more about the event is Lisa Soren, Executive Director of Westchester Square Bid, and Bharati Kamraj, Founder, Choreographer of the Bharati Dance Academy. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Sorry, I
us.
got a little choked up there.
Excitement.
I was very excited. I'm excited to hear the drums and the dancing and everything. So how did this get started?
I think it came about as a partnership. I've known Barati. I've seen her performances. The Westchester Square Merchant Association have had a fair at the square for about 5 years, and Barati's Academy has always been a part of it. And since I've been with the bid back in November, we realized that we have such a diverse community that we want to be able to showcase the strengths of everyone that belongs in our community and our businesses. So this is something extraordinary, fun, colorful, and it's an invitation to the entire community to learn something new and have a great time doing it.
Fantastic.
And it's a pleasure because I sat with Lisa. I knew her from reporting and doing all the community activities and being so involved. And I said, Lisa, what about this? And all she said was, what are you up to now, Barati? And guess what? I got this new position where she is now as the director, and I have to make these things happen for the community, and almost every one of them is free of charge. And I said, why not Bollywood in the Bronx? So, you know, it's a taste of Indian and Caribbean culture. It brings together the youth and the entire community. And she's like, I love it. Tell me more. She took out her notepad and she started writing down. And here we are today. Actually, this is becoming a reality. So to have it for the first time in the Bronx, it shows our diversity, our acceptance of each other's culture. And it's not just geared toward one population. It's actually open for the general public to come out and enjoy.
And everything's free.
Everything is free. The goal behind the Westchester Square bid is the increase of foot traffic. And the way we want to do that for this revitalized area is promoting Owen Dolan Park, which is completely renovated. And throughout the summer, we'll be having all these programs. So we've had Earth Day and Health Day. We had a wonderful concert a couple of weeks ago that introduced the classics from the 50s and 60s. And now we promote the Bollywood, the culture of South Asia, which is a very strong culture in our community, both for businesses and residential. And it'll just give people an opportunity to come out, have a fabulous time, shop in our stores, and get to know Westchester Square in a whole different light.
What kind of activities are we expecting?
We have Bollywood performances. We have Tasa group coming, which is drummers. We have a group that's coming from
Belize.
Belize.
Brand new in New York.
They actually called Lisa last minute and said, hey, we want to come. We're here only for a few days. And she was, you know, so it's a taste of Indian and Caribbean. So we've got the dance and the drum, and we have some spoken word that's going to be done by the youth. And also we have a walk-in and reading tour. And what that involves is it's going to be on top of the Owen Dolan Park, which students who go to Lehman High School like to call it on top of the world because it's just a gorgeous place. You can see the entire Westchester Square from there. But it's going to be poster boards that were Lisa idea, and I put together some stuff. So you get to read about the Indian culture, the Caribbean culture, and a few of the dances and stuff. So it's exciting because not only are you're mixing the performances, but you're also educating the community about a whole new culture. And you're going to have age groups from the youth, the middle age, and even older. And it really is to bring the community together and also showcase what Westchester Square has to offer and the development it's gone through over the years. So, you know, they always say the Bronx is burning, but I think this time it's actually, you know, it's booming and blooming at the same time.
Yelling
and with
for
the colors.
color and music.
Yes, and that's what everybody's going to see. Lots of colors, lots of entertainment, and just a day to have fun.
Sounds great. I mean, what day is it?
It's Saturday, July 13th from 12 to 3. Our website, wsbid.org, has all the information, all the updates, and a schedule of events for the rest of the summer that we'll be having. Come early. We're expecting a large crowd because it's totally something new, colorful, the music, and it's just so sophisticated. Our merchants are excited, and we're excited to be able to do this for the Bronx.
And how about you, Barati, and your involvement specifically with your academy? Are you involved also in like getting these other acts in there, or?
I've been assisting a lot with this because Lisa has allowed me the opportunity to do so. She's like, take it and run with it, you know, but I always check in with her. So to get the students involved with Barati Dance Academy, I have students that are ages 2 to about maybe in their early 30s, and I have older groups who have asked. I've been very involved in the community and doing programs, but to have the Barati Dance Academy, it's, you know, having the youth there, but not just as a teacher to teach them something every time, but it's learning from them. These are skills that our youth have, and it's not just my dance students, it's everyone. And just to be there to guide them to enhance and put their skills together it shows, you know, an event like this brings out the best in them and what they have to offer as an individual. So having the Bharati Dance Academy has been amazing over the years. You know, I teach out of the Vishnu Mandir Hindu Temple in the Bronx. Every event that someone asks us to take part in, we volunteer our time. And it's just been amazing. We have kids that are going to be, we have Havina and Govinda who's going to be doing a reading piece, talking about their involvement and their thoughts on their culture and how it's been over the years. We have DJ Reckless, which is their Tasa group from Queens. So Naturally Reckless is going to be here. There are a bunch of young up-and-coming artists who have been doing many wonderful things and traveling. And I think this is, you know, the first Bollywood in the Bronx event that they'll be taking part in at Westchester Square. So we're excited. Everything and everyone who is performing with us have been first. We have Alexis and her dance group, and that's where the Caribbean comes in a little bit, because Lisa was so excited about the Indian culture. And, you know, a lot of people kind of misinterpret at times with the Bollywood performance because they're so similar in the movements. And she was like, I want Bollywood. Can we have belly dancing? And I said, I know you want the Bollywood and the belly dancing, so let's make this work. And we incorporate the Indian and the Caribbean. And we've got the drummers and the belly dancers and the Bollywood performances and all of the readings. So over time, I think we're learning from each other and just accepting each other's culture. Like, I recently saw you at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and she was all decked out. And you're so involved, not just here, but outside. And I know the feeling, and it's so great when you're involved in things. And to have people who are part of a business or an association or part of the community that makes your little thought become an idea, and that idea goes on paper and it becomes reality when an event happens, it's, you know, it's magical. And it definitely is work in the making, and it shows our community coming together to actually form a bridge, and that we all can cross over. And I think Lisa and the bid and what the Merchant Association has done for Westchester Square especially, that is shining a light on the Bronx, which we truly need. And there are many other people who are doing the same thing, but we're excited that this is actually the first of its kind. It's getting a lot of attention, and we hope that everyone will come out and enjoy it in some way.
I mean, it's wonderful, like you mentioned that you saw me in the parade, and it's just wonderful to be able to promote your own culture and you know, get rid of the stereotypes that other people might have and promote you, and this is a wonderful way to do that.
It's an inclusion that everyone benefits from, educationally, in a fun way, business, and it just gives everybody a reason to come visit Westchester Square. It is a transportation hub, and we get thousands, 80,000 people running through the area, and it'd be nice for them to stop and say, wow, it's just more than switching from a bus to a train. It's about stopping in, visiting, walking the corridor, and learning about what we have to offer.
I went to the fair in the square for the Bronx Week. I was very pleasantly surprised, all the things that you guys had there with the rock climbing and the bouncy castles and the food. It was wonderful.
And people really look forward to that because it's an ongoing tradition for Westchester Square. And now that the bid is involved and we're established, it's only been established for a year, it really just puts another level of professionalism, of more publicity. Our merchants are excited, our property owners are excited, and it gives everybody a reason to come in and join. And we've also recently partnered up with the Bronx Cultural Card and as a way for our merchants to provide discounts when people decide to go to cultural institutions throughout the Bronx. They can stop in and get a discount by shopping in our stores or a glass of wine with dinner. So it's a beautiful combination that we're expanding for Westchester Square.
How could you say no to a glass of wine?
Absolutely.
And you know, Lisa talked about just the whole area and the development, but also the history that's there.
There's a beautiful history.
Much history, and to learn about it, I once took a walking tour in that area with the Merchant Association, and you know, having the library there, and then right on the square where the horses used to drink water, it's still there, and then you have the subway where people are coming and going. So a lot of foot traffic, but it'll be nice just to sit and relax a little bit. And they made it a little homey in the sense there are benches and there are places to go. And when it was fair at the square, you had kids from all over riding the trolley and taking part in different events. And it wasn't just one location. It was actually spread out, so people coming from all different areas were able to, you know, stop and take a look at something. And also what we're offering this Saturday for everyone out there who's looking, especially vendors and merchants, is free vendor tables. So you don't usually get that. No. And we're hoping BronxNet will also take a table to promote the great work that you guys are doing here with the interns and the students. And anyone who wants, feel free to check us out on the web or Facebook, and give us a call, give Lisa a call,
Yes,
and she will
definitely.
have tables there just in case anyone shows up randomly. But it's an opportunity for them to really showcase what they have to offer to the community, along with a great event to enjoy.
And that website is again?
WSBID.org, or of course they can call the office at 718-597-4629. All the information is on the website, on Facebook, Twitter. We'd love to hear ideas that come through as we're still in the planning stages and really making this big. Just like the group from Belize reached out to us, there may be other groups who really have something to offer to this. Westchester Square Bid is open to bringing everybody together for that day.
So it's not too late, right?
Absolutely, it's never too late.
Fantastic. So again, that's July 13th, this Saturday, 12 to 3.
At Owen Dolan Park,
And
totally renovated, the corner of Westchester Avenue and Tremont Avenue. Directions again are on our website, and also the Parks Department has it listed for specific transportations and how to get there.
So we encourage everyone to come out and enjoy Bollywood in the Bronx. It's a taste of Indian and Caribbean culture. And again, if you guys really want to make an idea become a reality, here's one woman you can talk to.
Thank you,
because, this is what you have to do in the community. You see where there's an opportunity, and just in a conversation, anything can happen. So we're excited. We're hoping that the community will come out in numbers just to enjoy a day and, get a taste of a different culture.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll learn about Ramadan and how the Bronx is celebrating. So stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Carla Cadenas, and you can check out Open 2.0 at 4:30 on Fridays, or on the web at www.bronxnet.org.
Hi, I'm Rina Valentin, your Café con Leche, host of Open. Tune in every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on BronxNet.
My name's Brandon. 9 years old, being alcoholic.
Hi, Brandon.
I'll start drinking with the older kids. And whatever they do, I'll do.
Kids who drink before age 15 are 5 times more likely to have alcohol problems when they're adults. So start talking before they start drinking.
I know it'll start with alcohol. I'm just not sure how it's gonna end.
Hi, I'm Sonia Richards of the 2008 U.S. Track and Field Team. I'm here with our friends from Jane and the Dragon to say,
The amount counts, so keep portions under control.
When you're on the go, there's nothing better than a healthy snack to give you a boost. But remember, portions count too.
I love fast food, fruit that is. It's the perfect size and great to eat on the fly.
You've got the idea. For fun ways to get healthy, visit www.smallstep.gov.
Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, has officially begun, and joining us today to share more about what this holiday is and how the Bronx community is celebrating this holy month is Sheikh Musa Drame. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So, what is Ramadan for people who don't know?
Ramadan, in a nutshell, as you said, is the 9th month in the Muslim calendar. It's the holiest, most spiritual month in the Muslim world. It is a month in which Muslims all over the world observe fasting. And in most people, when you say fasting, they would think that it's abstaining from food and drink. But Ramadan goes beyond that. The requirement is that the whole month one must be very, very prudent in the way they act, the way they talk, and the way they interact with their neighbors. And it's a month of generosity. You know, during the regular months, whatever deed you do in Islam, you get paid 10 times. But in the month of Ramadan, it's multiplied 700 times. That's why you see all over the world, Muslims strive to increase their generosity, their communal involvement, their volunteership. They do everything in a fast drive so that they can earn as much reward as they can. And also it's a month, as of today, according to Islam, Satan is completely chained. We can no longer blame our bad deeds that Satan influenced me. The Satan is no more in the picture. And the gates of paradise is wide open and the gates of hell closed. So it's really a month where people can redeem themselves from whatever action, whatever deeds or whatever sins that they may have committed in the last 11 months.
Are there any specific rituals or things that you must do and observe other than what you just described?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Actually, I want to take this opportunity to thank BronxNet and all the volunteers and the staff for always giving us the opportunity and the platform to talk about these important issues. As you know, I'm always on the media, but unfortunately when there's a problem.
Right.
So this is the only time where people get to hear about the good side of it. You see, especially here in the Bronx, every corner now there is a mosque. And we want the Bronx side, especially non-Muslims, to come to these, mosques and fellowship with us and, test the international, flavors of dishes from all over the world and ask us questions. There are so many contents being peddled throughout the, media world, but most of it is being provided by non-Muslims. There are a lot of misrepresentation about Muslims and Islam, and there is unfortunately no religion that's on the front pages of mainstream printed media than Islam and Muslims, electronic media. So we want to be able to talk to people, to tell them who we are, what Islam is about. Now the ideal situation of Ramadan is to be neighborly, to do for your neighbors, the services or the things that they would love, a friend or a family member to do. Therefore, it is not just only abstaining from food and drink, but really to provide the neighborliness. And I'm sure throughout the Muslim world today, there is a short chapter in Quran that talks about the neighborly rights. And usually in Ramadan, all the people who come to fellowship with us, we remind them of our obligation as, fellow New Yorkers, fellow Bronxites, people who live among, many people who share different faiths, what we must do, to make their lives not only enjoyable, but beneficial. So it goes beyond, abstaining from food and drink.
What is the Muslim community in the Bronx doing to celebrate?
The Muslim community in the Bronx, first of all, last night, if you go to any Muslim household, they did all the cleaning, they bought so many halal food, kosher food, and they prepare, to celebrate. You see, it's not a month of sacrifice, it's really a month of celebration, because if you go to most places, you see people that you have not seen since last year, especially at my center. Every year, we have so many non-Muslims who keep up with the calendar, just come to fellowship with us. So Muslims in the Bronx have mobilized to provide food to the needy, hospitality to their guests, and to have conversation and open dialogue with their fellow Bronxites. And we invite everybody to come. This is the most perfect time to talk to us. Learn about everything that you hear or read about Muslims and us. And I'm sure at the end you will find that we have a lot more in common than the differences that have already been portrayed.
What is a question that you're often asked from somebody who's non-Muslim about Islam?
Well, I mean, there are a lot. I mean, in the last 12 years, the most important question in everybody's mind is that, Muslims are terrorists. Islam is a hostile religion, and we cannot live with Muslims because the religion is not democratic. All these questions, because a very small percentage of the Muslim population have access to the mainstream media. I mean, I'm on TV all the time, but all for wrong reasons, because they only come to me when there's a problem everywhere in the world. So the questions are always about terrorism and violence, and also Muslims abuse women. Women are second-class citizens, and all these things. So the best way to get the truth is come to our mosque, especially in the month of Ramadan, and all the questions will be answered to your satisfaction. Promise.
So then just let's talk a little bit about Islam then, so that people can understand what the religion is and how they're not all terrorists. What do you just spoke about women and how people perceive women in Islam as second-class citizens. What's the difference? How is that not true?
Well, number one, women, according to Islam, no man enter paradise until the mom is satisfied with him. Prophet said, your key to paradise lies under your mom's feet. That's number one. Number two, no man enters paradise if you are not good to your family. He said that the best men in the Muslim world are the men who are good to their families. They're generous. And woman has the right, even without the husband's permission, to take whatever property from her husband, as long as it is necessity to feed herself and her family and pay the bills and whatever. Sometimes you have men who completely eliminate decision making from their wives. In Islam, it's prohibited. Number three, the Prophet was sheltered, supported, assisted by women. And if it wasn't for women, he would not be who he became, because his first wife employed him and told him that, yes, everything you told me, I believe, you are a prophet. And from there, he had the courage, and then he had the guaranteed from home that the wife will be there for him. And finally, in terms of women, in Islam, seeking knowledge is a mandatory to both Muslims, men, and Muslim women. Now, when you look at reports and you see, unfortunately, Muslim men leaving their wives home and accepting the narratives of, men should be out there, women should be home, it's not Islamic. Islam put men and women in equal responsibility in almost everything. Obviously, there are differences, and that difference is natural, must be respected. But it's not second class or third class or one on top, nothing. It's equality in both ways.
I mean, specifically speaking about like Malala out in Afghanistan and in that section of the world where people have been shooting at students, females specifically, and people claim in the name of Islam. What would you say to people who see that?
Well, look at the narratives. Malala is a young Pakistani girl who said girls must be given the opportunity for education. Prophet Muhammad said education is mandatory to both Muslim men and Muslim women. So Malala is reciting what Prophet is saying. Now those who are against Malala and what Malala stood for, they are going the opposite direction. That is the simplest way. Prophet said education is mandatory. Now, if a girl said, you must give us access to education, and in the process got shot or killed, they are going the wrong way. And by the way, these are the people who are receiving the lion's share of the media attention. But if they understand it from the way I'm saying it, which I can prove it from Quran, then people will understand that criminals are always, use the clothing of Islam or any other religion, for that matter, for their criminal enterprises. And second, the first commandment for Muslims is to read. The first thing that Jibril tells Prophet Muhammad said, read in the name of your Creator. The ones who create you is the one that you need to understand who he is, so that you will be able to deal with science and nature and everything around you. So if Malala advocates education for girls and the other people say no, Malala is right and they are wrong. And this is true all over the world, including here in the Bronx.
And what do they normally cite, the people who are against women, and they use the Quran against them? What do they normally cite? What do they misquote?
The same thing that the woman abusers here in New York, people who give you the ring and said, I'll be there for goodness and for difficulties. I will protect you. I will love you until eternity, and yet go home and beat you up or put a knife or gun you down. The same exact narrative. Criminals are criminals, so no matter what religion, what culture, where they live. There are more women being abused and hurt here in the most democratically set up country in the world. Forget about Afghanistan. Let's talk about here in the Bronx. Now, these criminals, they may use whatever cultural background they have to justify their criminal actions. Same narratives that you will find abusive men here in the Bronx. Once we are able to provide equal education to all girls all over the world, they will no longer be able to justify their criminal elements using abusive rhetorics, to put women. And this is a universal problem. United Nations has done so many research where women are being abused, and guess what? It is worse in developed countries, because most women get killed in developed countries. Most women left back in less developed. So this is a universal problem that needs collective solution, and we must all talk about it, and we must all prevent the continuation of it.
Thank you so much for all that information. I feel much more enlightened.
Thank you.
So it's Ramadan, and go to your local mosque and ask the questions that you need to know. It's been a pleasure coming into your homes, and I'd like to thank our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 10 p.m. on Cablevision Channel 67 and Fios 33, or watch anytime on the web. Have a great week, and don't forget to keep your mind, heart, and most of all, the channel wide open. Thanks.